Hello, friends. How are you doing? I hope you're healthy, happy, and doing great. Welcome to this episode of our English learning podcast, DDC Learning English. Today, we're going on a special deep dive. We're going to explore how you can learn English on your own using free tools and simple steps. We'll also dive into some real-life English conversations and important everyday phrases that you can start using right away.
Yes, this deep dive is for anyone who wants to understand and use English better in daily life. We'll look at how to build your skills from speaking to listening, and also how common words and phrases help you communicate clearly. It's about making English a part of your world step by step so it feels, natural for you.
So we've set the stage. Many of you might already know some English from school or maybe from watching movies, and that's fantastic. Maybe you can say hello or how are you? Or understand some easy sentences. But how do you find the best ways to learn more on your own? How do you take that small bit of knowledge you have and make it grow? Grow into something big and useful for your life. That's exactly what we want to help you with today.
Our first step on this path is really important. Knowing your current English level. Think of it like this. If you want to travel to a new city, you first need to know where you are starting from on the map, right?
Right. You need a starting point.
Exactly. It's the same with learning English. When you know your starting point, you can choose the best way to move forward. To find your English level, you can take a free English test online. There are quite a few good ones out there. These tests are very helpful because they can tell you exactly where you stand, what you can do already.
And these test results, they're often based on something called the CEFR scale. CEFR. This is a special way to measure language skills that many countries use around the world. It helps everyone understand what different levels of English mean. So like A1, B2, those letters and numbers.
Mm-hmm. And this scale has levels from A1, which is for someone just starting out, a beginner, all the way up to C2, which means you are very close to speaking like a person who grew up speaking English. Very advanced.
Maybe we can quickly explain what those first few levels mean in simple words.
Good idea. So at A1, that's the beginner level. You can understand and use very common words in simple sentences. You can introduce yourself, ask easy questions like, what's your name or where are you from? Talk about simple daily things.
Okay, like the very basics.
Exactly. Then A2, that's elementary. Here, you can understand sentences and common expressions about things important to you, like your family, shopping, where you live. You can describe simple things about your past, talk about things you need right now.
So a bit more than A1. You can handle simple, routine tasks.
That's right. Then comes B1, which is intermediate. At this level, you can understand the main ideas of clear texts about familiar things you know from work, school, or hobbies. You can usually deal with most situations when you travel to an English-speaking country. And you can write simple texts on topics you know or are interested in.
Okay, so B1 is where you start feeling a bit more comfortable, maybe having simple conversations.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. And after that, you have B2, C1, and C2, getting more and more advanced, understanding more complex things, speaking more fluently.
So knowing your level A1, A2, B1, or higher is really important. It helps you choose the right learning tools and materials. Imagine if you are a beginner, say an A1 level, and you try to watch a very fast English movie without any help, like subtitles. You might feel lost, right? Or just get bored very quickly because it's just too difficult.
Definitely. And the other way, too, if you are at a B2 level, maybe upper intermediate, and you only use beginner materials, well, you might feel bored because it's just too easy for you. You're not learning much new.
So knowing your level helps you find things that are just right for your needs. Not too hard, not too easy.
Exactly. It guides you. And this keeps you learning, growing, and hopefully enjoying the process.
Which is very important for staying motivated, isn't it? Learning a language takes time.
It really does. Staying motivated is key. Okay, so after you know your level, what's next? Well, before you start watching lots of TV shows or listening to many different podcasts, it's very helpful to understand sort of how English works.
Like the basic rules.
Yeah, like learning the basic rules of a game before you start playing with friends. For example, you need to know how to change a verb to fit a sentence. Like saying I walk but he walks.
Oh, right. That's on the end for he, she, it.
Exactly. Or how to build a sentence correctly. How to put the words in the right order so they make sense. Or how to ask a question properly so people understand what you want to know.
These are like the basic building blocks of the language then.
That's a perfect way to describe it. The building blocks.
And how can people learn these building blocks? Are there resources?
Yes, definitely. To build this basic understanding, we've found 2 excellent, completely free online courses that can help you a lot. You just need to choose if you want to learn American English or British English first.
The accent choice. Is that very important at the start?
It's good to be aware of it. There are small differences in pronunciation, some words, maybe a little grammar, but don't worry too much. Once you learn one type, it's usually pretty easy to understand the other. Most of the words are exactly the same.
Okay, so pick one to start with.
Right. And these free courses, they give you the main knowledge you need to start learning more on your own. They make sure you have a strong and correct base. They cover those important grammar points and basic sentence structures. Really useful.
What about people who already have some English? Maybe they're B2 or higher. Do they need these beginner courses?
That's a good question. If your English is already at a B2 level or higher, you might find these beginner courses are, well, too easy. At those levels, you probably already have a good understanding of how English works. You know the basics, so it's usually better to focus your time on listening more, reading more, and especially speaking more.
So more practice using the language.
Exactly. You'll learn faster by actively using the language, getting more experience with real English conversations and materials. It's like, if you already know how to ride a bike, you don't need to go back to the very beginning lessons, right?
You just need to ride more often to get better.
Precisely.
What's interesting here, I think, is that how you learn changes as you get better. When you're a beginner, maybe you learn about English, like studying grammar rules from a book.
Learning the theory.
But as you become more advanced, you start to learn with English. You learn by using the language in real situations, talking, listening to shows, reading books.
Yes. And when you do that, your brain starts to pick up the grammar and vocabulary more naturally, almost without you thinking about it. It just clicks, which makes the process faster and often more fun, too.
Learning by doing, basically.
That's it. Okay, so we've covered knowing your level and building a base. What about how you sound? Pronunciation.
Yes, pronunciation. This is where it gets really interesting, I think. English has so many different accents, doesn't it? American, British, Australian, Canadian, Irish, lots more.
It does. And most of the words are the same, but the sounds, they can be very different. Think about how people say the letter R, for example. Very different in American and British English sometimes.
Or the T sound. Sometimes it's sharp, sometimes it's softer, like a D.
Right. And the really challenging part for learners is that English spelling and pronunciation can be, well, a bit strange.
Definitely. A word might be spelled one way, but it sounds completely different. It's not always logical.
Not like some other languages where letters usually make the same sound. English has exceptions, lots of them.
So what should learners do? Which accent should they aim for?
Well, you should probably choose the accent you find most useful or maybe most interesting for your life. If you plan to live or work in, say, the United States or Canada, maybe American English makes sense. If you plan to go to the UK or Ireland, maybe British English is better.
Or maybe you just like the sound of one accent more than another.
That's fine too. The important thing is to be clear and understandable. Now, for American English, there's a really good free online course. It teaches you how to make every single sound in American English.
How does that work?
Well, your job is to watch the videos, listen very carefully to the speaker, and then record yourself saying the sounds. After you record, you listen back to yourself, and you ask, how did I do? Does it sound like the video?
So you compare your sound to the model.
Exactly. If you need to get better, you try again. Practice. This helps you hear your own mistakes and fix them.
It sounds like a great way to improve step by step, focusing on each sound.
It is. Very focused practice. And once you feel a bit more comfortable with the basic sounds, you can try something called vocal placement.
A vocal placement? What's that?
Think of it like this. When you speak, the sound of your voice seems to come from a certain place in your mouth or throat, right?
I guess so. I haven't really thought about it.
Well, different languages often feel like they come from different parts of the mouth or maybe even the chest. Vocal placement is about trying to feel where native English speakers produce their sounds and trying to copy that feeling.
So it's not just the sound, but where the sound comes from in your mouth.
Kind of, yes. For example, American English often feels like the sound is made a bit further back in the throat, maybe more relaxed. British English might feel more forward, closer to the front of the mouth, using your lips and tongue quite precisely.
Interesting. How do you practice that?
You can practice by listening carefully to English news shows or maybe songs, and try to make your mouth muscles work like the speakers. Really focus on where the sound feels like it's coming from inside your mouth and throat. Record yourself doing it.
I see. And for British English, are there resources for that too?
Yes, absolutely. There are also specific online playlists you can find for British English pronunciation. They cover basic techniques and also this idea of vocal placement for a typical British sound.
Yeah, what if you find it difficult to check your own pronunciation? It can be hard to hear your own mistakes sometimes.
That's very true. It can be tricky. In that case, there's also an app. Let's call it Elsa Speak. This app uses smart computer programs, AI, artificial intelligence, to listen to your speech and give you feedback. Advice.
Oh, like a pronunciation coach on your phone?
Exactly. It has many lessons covering sounds, rhythm, intonation, everything. The AI listens to how you speak and tells you exactly what you need to improve. Maybe it tells you the sound isn't quite right, or you need to open your mouth more for a certain vowel sound.
That sounds incredibly useful. Personalized help.
It is, because depending on your first language, some English sounds might be harder for you than others. The app helps target those specific problems.
And this helps you sound clearer, more professional maybe.
Yes, clearer and more professional, which is really important if you want to live, study, or work in an English-speaking country. Good pronunciation helps people understand you easily.
It reduces misunderstandings.
Definitely. Okay, moving on from sounds, let's talk about words, vocabulary.
Right. You need words to actually say things.
Exactly. If you want to speak English easily and naturally, you need to know many words and phrases. It's like having a big toolbox. The more tools you have, the more things you can build and fix.
So how do you build your vocabulary toolbox?
Well, one of the simplest and I think one of the most effective ways is with flashcards.
Flashcards. Like cards with a word on one side and the meaning on the other.
Yes, exactly. An English word or phrase on one side and its meaning in your language or maybe a picture on the other side.
Now, I've heard there's a smart way to use flashcards, something called active recall.
Yes, that's the key, active recall. It means you look at the English word first, and before you flip the card over to see the answer, you really try hard to remember the meaning yourself.
You try to pull the information out of your brain.
Exactly. That little moment of trying to remember, that bit of mental effort, that's what helps your brain remember the word much better. And for a longer time, too.
So it's not just passively looking at the answer.
Right. You have to be active. And there's a free computer program and an app called Anki that uses this idea, plus another very smart method.
Anki. A-N-K-I.
Yes. It uses a method called spaced repetition.
Spaced repetition. What does that mean?
It's quite clever. Here's how it works simply. Imagine you learn a new word today. Anki will show it to you again soon, maybe in 10 minutes. If you remember it easily, Anki waits longer before showing it again, maybe tomorrow or in a few days. But if you forget it or find it difficult, Anki will show it to you again very soon, maybe in just 5 minutes.
So it shows you the difficult words more often and the easy words less often.
Exactly. It shows you words just around the time your brain is about to forget them. This helps push them into your long-term memory.
That sounds really efficient.
It is incredibly efficient for learning lots of new words and phrases. You just open the app or program and practice every day. Maybe 10-15 minutes. It might not look super fancy, but it really, really works.
Does Anki have flashcards already made? Or do you have to make them all yourself?
That's a good question. It has both options.
Yeah.
There are different sets of flashcards already made for different levels of English. If you're at an A1 or A2 level, a beginner, there's a special set of flashcards that even has audio.
Audio, so you can hear the word.
Yes. You can hear how the word is pronounced as you learn its meaning, which is great, right? You practice pronunciation at the same time.
That's really helpful. Learning the sound and the meaning together.
It helps it stick in your mind better. Then, once you reach a B1 level, intermediate and higher, there's another set of flashcards with more common and conversational words. These are the words and phrases that people use frequently in everyday talk. Very practical.
And for advanced levels, like C1 and C2.
At those levels, it's actually a very good idea to start making your own flashcards.
How does that work?
Well, when you hear or read a new word, maybe in a movie, a book, a song, a podcast, you write it down. Then you look up its meaning and maybe an example sentence, and you make a flashcard for it in Anki yourself.
Ah, so you learn the words that are interesting or useful specifically to you.
Exactly, because you found them yourself in a real context. That makes them more memorable too.
So having a bigger vocabulary means you can say more things.
Yes, and understand more of what you hear and read.
You can express yourself more clearly, maybe with more detail or feeling.
It really opens up your world to more communication, more ideas, and a deeper understanding of English speakers and their culture.
It's like having more colors to paint with, you said earlier.
Exactly. More words give you more colors to express yourself. Okay, vocabulary is crucial. What about grammar? That's often seen as the hard part.
Yes, English grammar, it can be hard sometimes, and sometimes. It's strange.
It can feel that way. Why do we say I go, but he goes? Or why is the past of go suddenly went? It doesn't always follow a simple pattern.
Exactly. Those are regular verbs.
But here's the good news. Don't worry too much. With regular practice, using English, it will start to feel natural. Just like you learned the grammar of your first language without studying rule books. Or like driving a car, at first you think about every step, but later it becomes automatic.
So you mean you don't have to spend hours studying grammar rules?
Well, what's interesting here is that you don't always need to study grammar rules directly, especially if you're using other learning tools a lot. If you listen to a lot of English, read a lot, and try to speak often, your brain will start to learn the grammar patterns naturally.
The brain figures it out from the examples.
Yes. Your brain is very smart at finding patterns. You will learn grammar without even trying to memorize all the complex rules. It just starts to sound right.
That's reassuring. So focus on using the language.
Mostly, yes. Especially as you get past the beginner stages.
What if someone likes studying grammar or feels they need more explanation? Are there tools for that?
Oh, absolutely. If you do like to study grammar directly, or you feel stuck on a point, there are some great tools available, many for free. For beginners, remember those free core courses we talked about earlier?
The ones for American or British English.
Yes. They explain the basic grammar very clearly. And importantly, they often explain it in many different languages, which can be super helpful when you're just starting and need to understand the basic ideas in your own language first.
Okay, so those courses cover beginner grammar. What about intermediate?
For intermediate students, there's another excellent free online course that covers all the main grammar topics you need to know at that level. And a nice feature is that this course often has subtitles, like words on the screen, in about 10 different languages.
So you can read the explanation in your language if you need to, while still hearing the English examples.
Exactly. It helps bridge that gap and make sure you understand the concepts properly.
And for advanced students?
For advanced students, there's yet another online course that goes into much more detail, covers more complex grammar, but this one is usually only in English.
Which makes sense, right? At an advanced level, you should be trying to think and learn only in English as much as possible.
Precisely. It helps you get fully immersed.
What about books? Are there any good grammar books that aren't too boring?
Ha ha ha. Yes, grammar books can sometimes be a bit dry, but there's one I really like called The Infographic Guide to Grammar.
Infographic, like with pictures.
Exactly. This book uses lots of pictures, charts, and visual explanations, infographics to make grammar ideas easier and more fun to understand.
Oh, that sounds much better than just pages of text and rules.
It is. Seeing grammar visually can really help things click, especially for people who are visual learners. It makes it less scary and more engaging.
So ultimately, understanding grammar helps you, what? Put words together correctly.
Yes. It helps you put words in the right order so that what you say or write makes sense to other people. It's like building with Legos, you know? If you put the pieces in the wrong place, your building might fall down or it won't look like what you intended.
Grammar helps your English building stand strong and clear.
Exactly. So people can understand your message easily without confusion.
Okay, we've covered a lot. Levels, core understanding, pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar. What about actually using the language? Listening and speaking.
Ah, yes. Listening and speaking. Crucial skills.
I've heard that listening is maybe the most important skill. Is that right?
I tend to agree, yes. Listening is perhaps the most important skill, especially at the beginning and intermediate stages, because it helps you understand how English is really used in real life, how people actually talk.
And if you can understand spoken English,
then reading, writing, and speaking become much, much easier. It's the foundation.
when you understand what people are saying, you learn new words, you hear the grammar in action, you get the rhythm.
All of that. And then you can learn how to reply, how to write down what you hear, and how to read with better understanding. It all connects back to listening.
So how can people practice listening effectively?
Well, I believe that using podcasts is one of the best ways to practice listening.
Like this one?
Exactly. Podcasts are great because they're easy to find. There are millions of them on every topic. You can listen anywhere on the bus, while walking, doing chores at home. And there are many podcasts specifically for different English levels.
Okay, so where should beginners start? People at A1 to B1 level.
For A1 to B1, there are actually two really great podcasts we know of, one focusing on American English and one on British English. They are made especially for beginners and intermediate learners. The speakers talk slowly and clearly.
And use simple words.
Yes, they use simpler vocabulary and sentence structures that are easy to follow along with, perfect for building confidence.
What about when you get a bit better, say B1 plus A?
Once you reach an intermediate level, like B1 plus A, especially if you're interested in American English, you can try a specific podcast called the American English Podcast. The hosts speak slowly and clearly, but they cover really useful topics. Things like common idioms and sayings, slang words that people use every day.
Oh, like informal language.
Exactly. And also cultural notes about America. This helps you understand not just the words, but how people use English in their daily lives, which is super important for sounding natural.
And for B2 level, upper intermediate.
At the B2 level, you could try something a little different, maybe a podcast that's actually made for older children or teenagers.
Really? Children's podcast?
It might sound a bit strange, but hear me out. These podcasts are often very interesting, very well made, and they use clear English that's not too simple, but also usually not too fast or complex. They often tell exciting stories or talk about interesting facts in a way that's really easy to follow and keeps you engaged.
Okay, I can see that. Engaging content is important.
Definitely. And for the C levels, C1, C2, very advanced learners.
What should they listen to?
At that point, your choices are huge. You can listen to almost anything native speakers listen to, but maybe try storytelling podcasts like This American Life or Serial, or podcasts about science, history, culture, things that interest you. These help you understand complex ideas, different accents, faster speech, and reach a truly native-like level of understanding.
When people are listening, say to a podcast, what should they do? Just listen.
Just listening is good, but active listening is even better.
Active listening.
Well, when you hear a new word you don't understand, don't just ignore it. Pause the podcast if you can. Use an online translator on your phone or computer right away. Just type the word and find its meaning quickly.
Okay, look up new words immediately.
Yes. And then later, maybe at the end of the day, you can check your translation history. And make flashcards for those new words using Anki, like we talked about earlier.
So you capture the new words you hear and actively learn them.
Exactly. That way you're not just passively hearing, you're actively learning from what you listen to. It makes a huge difference.
What about movies and TV shows? Are they good for listening practice?
Yes, they can be very good, especially once you're at a B2 level or above. The language can be faster and more natural than in learner podcasts.
Should you use subtitles?
Yes, but here's the key. Always try to use English subtitles, not subtitles in your own language.
Why English subtitles?
Because if you use subtitles in your own language, your brain will often just read them quickly and not really listen to the English sounds. You're just reading.
I see. You're not connecting the sound to the meaning.
Exactly. But when you use English subtitles, you see the words as you hear them spoken. This helps your brain connect the sound, the spelling, and the meaning all together. It reinforces your learning.
And should you look up new words in movies too?
Yes, definitely. Just like with podcasts, pause, look up the word quickly, and maybe make a flashcard later. Keep it active.
Okay, that's listening covered. Now, the scary one for many people, speaking.
Yes, speaking. It can feel scary, but it's so important.
And is there a secret? A shortcut to becoming a good speaker?
I wish I could say yes, but there's one very important truth about speaking skills. There are no shortcuts.
No magic pill.
No magic pill. The only way to get better at speaking is, well, you have to do it. You have to practice.
Practice, practice, practice.
That's the mantra. It's like learning to ride a bicycle, remember? You can read books about balance, you can watch videos, but you only learn by actually getting on the bike and trying. And maybe falling off a few times.
Falling off is okay. Making mistakes is okay.
Absolutely okay. It's part of the process.
So how can people practice speaking? Especially if they don't live in an English-speaking country or don't know native speakers.
Great question. There are actually several good methods you can use, even on your own. Method 1, talk with a computer program.
Talk to a computer, like Siri or Alexa.
Even better. You can have actual voice chats with advanced AI programs like ChatGPT, especially the newer versions with voice capabilities.
Really? You can talk to it and it talks back.
Yes, you can talk about everyday things, tell it about your day, your hobbies, what you had for breakfast, anything. You can ask it questions, have a conversation. You can even ask it to notice your mistakes and help you fix them.
Wow. So it's like having a patient language partner available anytime.
Exactly. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the best part, you can practice without feeling worried or embarrassed about making mistakes in front of a real person. It helps build confidence.
Okay, talking to AI. What else?
Method 2, talk to yourself.
Talk to myself.
Yeah.
Out loud. People might think I'm crazy.
Maybe do it when you're alone. But yes, talk to yourself out loud in English. Just say your thoughts. Narrate what you're doing. For example, okay, now I am making a cup of tea. I need the tea bag and hot water.
Like thinking out loud, but in English.
Exactly. This helps you practice forming sentences in real time. It helps you start thinking in English instead of translating everything from your first language in your head. It gets your mouth used to making English sounds and sentences.
Okay, I can see how that would help. Less pressure, too.
Right. Method 3, talk with people online.
Find language partners.
Yes. It's easier than ever now. There are many websites and apps designed to connect language learners. You can find other people who want to practice speaking English, maybe someone learning your language who wants to exchange. This gives you real conversation practice with different people, different accents, different ideas.
And the final method.
Method 4, speak in real life whenever you possibly can.
If you have the opportunity, take it.
Yes. If you meet a tourist who speaks English, try saying hello. If you have a colleague who speaks English, practice with them. If you travel, use your English. Don't wait until you think your English is perfect. It will never be perfect. Just start.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Please don't be afraid. Everyone makes mistakes when they're learning. It's completely normal. It's how we learn. The most important thing is to be brave, open your mouth, and just try.
The more you listen and speak,
the more natural English will feel. It really is about being brave and just doing it. All right, we've covered listening and speaking. What about the other 2 core skills? reading and writing.
Right. Reading and writing. How important are they?
Reading English is a very useful skill, especially if you plan to work or study in an English-speaking country. Think about it. Many jobs require you to read emails, reports, documents. University courses involve reading textbooks, articles, all in English.
So it's essential for work and study.
Very often, yes. And reading also helps you understand the language deeply, especially at an advanced level. You see how complex sentences are built, how ideas are connected in writing. You learn lots of new vocabulary and context.
Okay, so reading is important. Where can people find things to read in English, especially if they're beginners or intermediate? Maybe for free.
Good news is there are many free reading materials online. For beginners and intermediate learners, there's a great website called freekidsbooks.org.
Books for kids.
Yes, but hear me out again. They have books you can download for free, and you can search by age level or even by English reading level. So you can find stories that are fun, maybe with pictures, but use simpler language and sentence structures.
That sounds perfect for learners. Engaging stories, but not too difficult.
Exactly. They help you build vocabulary and reading confidence without getting overwhelmed.
What about for more advanced readers?
For advanced learners, a fantastic resource is Project Gutenberg, Gutenberg. Project Gutenberg has thousands of free English books, especially older classic stories where the copyright has expired.
Classic literature, like Shakespeare or Jane Austen.
Things like that, yes. Novels, plays, poetry. Now, these books are often not easy. They might use older words, more complex sentences. They can be challenging.
Rewarding.
Very rewarding. Reading them can help you learn to speak and write English in a very beautiful, rich, and sophisticated way. It really expands your language horizons.
Okay, that's reading. What about practicing writing? That can feel difficult too.
It can, but again, technology can help. A computer program like ChatGPT makes it very easy to practice writing.
How can you use ChatGPT for writing practice?
Well, you can just type something you want to write, maybe an email to a friend, a short paragraph about your day, maybe even try writing a little story. Then you can ask the AI, can you please check my writing for mistakes? Or can you make my writing sound more natural?
Oh, so it acts like a writing tutor.
Yeah.
Giving you feedback.
Exactly. It can correct your grammar, suggest better vocabulary words, help improve your sentence structure. You can even ask it for ideas to write about if you don't know where to start. Like, give me 5 topics to write about for English practice.
That removes the blank page problem.
It does. It makes practice much easier and less intimidating.
And why is practicing writing helpful?
Writing is helpful because it forces you to actively use the grammar and vocabulary you've learned. And very importantly, writing helps you see your own weaknesses in English.
How so?
When you write, you might notice, oh, I always make that same mistake with prepositions, or I don't know the right word to say this.
You become aware of the gaps in your knowledge.
Precisely. And once you see those weaknesses clearly, you can focus your learning on improving them.
So reading gives you input, new words, grammar examples, and writing is output, using what you learned and finding out what you still need to work on.
That's a perfect summary. They work together beautifully.
Wow, okay. We have talked about so many things. Knowing your level, grammar, vocab, pronunciation, listening, speaking, reading, writing. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So how does someone put all of this together? How do you make a plan, a daily routine?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How to fit it all in. The most important advice is to try and set aside a specific time each day just for English. Make it a habit.
Like brushing your teeth, something you do every day.
Exactly. Ideally, try for at least 1 hour a day if you can. Think of it as like going to the gym for your English brain.
An hour every day. That might be hard for some people.
It might be, but even if you can't manage a full hour, consistency is the absolute key. Doing 20 or 30 minutes every day is much, much better than studying for, say, 3 hours only once a week on Sunday.
Little and often is better than a lot, but rarely.
Yes. Your brain learns best with regular, consistent effort. Those small daily practices really add up over time.
Can you give some examples, like what might a routine look like for different levels?
Sure. Let's think about a total beginner, someone at the A1 level. For an A1 learner, you'll want to spend most of your time on building that core understanding using those free courses we mentioned, plus working on your pronunciation, listening to sounds, recording yourself, and definitely doing your vocabulary flashcards, maybe with Anki, every single day.
So core course, pronunciation, vocabulary, that's the focus for A1.
Pretty much, yes. Get those foundations strong. Then, once you reach the A2 level, elementary, you should continue with the core course, pronunciation, and vocabulary, but also start adding some dedicated listening practice.
Using those beginner-level podcasts you mentioned.
Exactly. Start listening to one of those podcasts designed for learners. They speak slowly and clearly, which is perfect for A2. You'll start understanding more and more.
Okay, what about the intermediate level? Say B1.
Around the B1 level, things become a bit more flexible. You can start to follow your own interests more. You might choose to keep using your core course for review, maybe focusing on specific grammar points you find tricky. Or you might decide to make listening your main learning method now using intermediate podcasts, maybe trying simple movies with English subtitles.
Still doing vocabulary practice.
Oh yes, definitely keep up with the vocabulary flashcards. That's always important. And at B1, it's really time to start practicing speaking regularly, using those methods we discussed, talking to yourself, using AI chat, finding online partners,
and reading and writing.
If you need English for work or school, B1 is a good time to start incorporating regular reading and writing practice too. Even just 15 minutes of each per day can help a lot.
And finally, for advanced learners, C level.
For advanced learners, C1 or C2, the basic courses aren't very helpful anymore. You know the basics. The focus should be on massive input and output. Use authentic listening and reading materials, constantly complex podcasts, news, articles, novels, things native speakers use.
Immerse yourself in the language.
Exactly. And crucially, speak English every single day. Actively look for opportunities to talk with people, online or in real life. Join a conversation group, maybe.
And writing.
Yes, work on your writing skills too. It helps you refine your grammar and vocabulary, spot subtle errors, and express complex ideas clearly. Maybe write summaries of articles you read or keep a journal in English.
That's really helpful to see how the focus shifts depending on the level.
The most important thing really for all levels is just to keep learning. Be consistent. Find what methods work best for you and your life, what you enjoy. Because everyone learns differently.
Stick with it.
Yes. With time, patience, and consistent practice, you can definitely speak English well and feel confident using it. It just takes effort over time.
Every little bit counts.
Every single bit.
Okay, so we spent a lot of time talking about how to learn English. Now let's shift gears a bit. Let's see. English in action. We're going to explore some everyday conversations and real-life situations. Things that happen to people every day. This will show how people really use the language, the kinds of phrases they use in normal life. So let's imagine a busy morning, maybe in a city. You hear the sounds of the street, cars, maybe people walking quickly, perhaps a train announcement somewhere. In these moments, we often hear simple greetings. People passing each other might say, "Good morning."
Or a quick morning.
Or maybe, "How are you?" or "How's it going?" Very common ways to start the day or just acknowledge someone.
Now let's think about someone specific. Let's call her Julia. Imagine it's her first day at a new job. She might be feeling a bit nervous, maybe rushing to get there on time. Let's say she takes a taxi. When she arrives at her new workplace, maybe it's a TV company called Apex TV, she needs to find the person she's supposed to meet. So she goes to the reception desk. What does she say?
She probably needs to ask for someone.
Right. She might say, very politely, something like, "Good morning. Martha McKay, please."
Simple and direct.
Or, "I have an appointment with Martha McKay. She's the producer." Adding a bit more information. Then the receptionist might tell her where to go, maybe. Yes, of course. Her office is room 12 on the second floor.
Giving directions.
You can take the lift over there.
Oh.
Using lift, which is common for elevator in British English.
These are really common phrases, aren't they? Asking for someone, getting directions in a building.
Exactly. Things you'd use when starting any new job, visiting an office, or just finding your way around a new place. It shows how simple, practical language is a big part of everyday interaction.
So Julia finds her way. These situations, starting a job, asking for directions, talking to new people at reception, they happen all the time. You can use these same kinds of phrases when you meet new colleagues or just need help navigating a new building. It's all about simple, clear language for daily tasks.
Now, when you're in a new place, especially starting a job or maybe registering for something, people often need to ask for your personal details, your information.
Right. Like your names, where you live.
Exactly. So this brings up an important question. How do you share your personal information clearly in English? You'll hear questions like, "What's your name, please?" Or maybe, "Could I take your name?"
And what's your address?
Yes. And very often they'll ask, "How do you spell that?" Especially for names or street names that might be unusual.
To make sure they write it down correctly.
Precisely. They might also ask, "What's your postcode?" Which is like a zip code used in the UK and some other countries.
And maybe, what's your telephone number? Or, could I have your phone number?
Yes, all very standard questions when collecting information.
So, let's imagine Julia giving her details. She might say her address is 94 Tyndall Street. And if they ask how to spell Tyndall, she needs to say the letters clearly, right?
Yes, she'd say Tindall.
Using double L when a letter is repeated, is that common?
Yes, it's very common, especially when spelling things out over the phone or when clarity is important. It's quicker than saying LL.
Okay, and her postcode might be something like KT98NB?
And her phone number. Maybe
Right.
01372899531.
How would she say that number all together?
Usually people read phone numbers out in small groups of digits. It makes it easier to hear and write down. So she might say 01372899531. Or maybe group them differently, but usually in chunks, not one long string of numbers.
Got it. That's really practical. Learning to give your address and phone number clearly is something you definitely need in daily life.
For filling out forms, ordering something online, telling a new friend how to contact you, all sorts of situations. Now, in a workplace, like Julia's new job at Apex TV, you also meet different people with different jobs. So Julia meets Martha McKay, who we know is the producer. She also meets Rebecca Bond, who is Martha's personal assistant or PA. And Tim Barnes, who's a reporter. And Gary Fenton, a newsreader, the person who reads the news on TV.
Lots of different roles.
Yes. And she also learns about the big boss, Frederick, the managing director. But apparently, he travels a lot. London, Tokyo, South Africa. He's often away.
So understanding job titles helps you know who does what in the workplace.
It does. It helps understand the structure and who to talk to for different things.
And we also see how people talk about their work and maybe ask for help, like Tim, the reporter. He needs an assistant for a story he's working on. And Julia, even though she's brand new, she bravely offers to help him.
What does she say?
She asks, "Can I do it? Can I be your assistant, Tim?"
That's a great example. A simple, polite way to offer help or volunteer for something.
So understanding job titles, knowing how to ask for help or offer help, these are really essential skills for daily work life.
Absolutely. It shows how people interact, cooperate, and get things done together in an office environment. But life isn't always smooth, is it? English isn't just for easy situations or happy moments. It's also used when things go wrong, when there are problems.
Right, like problems at work.
Exactly. Let's say Tim and Julia start working on that story together. It's about a company called Wonderful Windows. And the owner, Mr. Carl Stalker, apparently took money from customers but never delivered the windows. A serious problem.
So they need to investigate, maybe confront him.
Yes. Imagine they find him and ask him a direct, tough question like, "Mr. Stalker, where is your customer's money?"
Wow, okay. So English is used for asking hard questions too, for journalism, for holding people accountable.
Yes. It shows the language being used in a serious context, dealing with difficult situations.
And problems happen in daily life too, right? Not just big work investigations.
Of course. Think about Tim again. Maybe he has trouble getting to work one day. He might arrive late and explain, "Sorry I'm late. The trains were all late this morning."
A very common excuse.
"There was an accident at the station," he might add. Simple phrases to explain a delay.
And maybe because his daily journey to work, his commute is so difficult, he decides he needs to find a new place to live, closer to the office.
Right. So he starts looking for a new flat. Flat is the common word for apartment in British English.
He finds one, but maybe it's too expensive.
Exactly. He might tell Julia, "I found a nice flat, but it's £600 a month." That's 600 pounds sterling, the currency in the UK. And then he adds, "Sadly, I can't afford that."
Talking about money, rent, affordability. That connects to real-life financial situations many people face.
Very much so. Using phrases like "I can't afford that" is very common and practical.
What about health issues? People get sick, they have accidents.
Yes, that's another part of life where you need English. Imagine poor Tim has more bad luck. Maybe he gets a really bad stomach ache. He has to go to the doctor, and then maybe the doctor sends him to the hospital.
Oh dear. What happens?
Maybe he needs an operation. Let's say Julia visits him in the hospital afterwards. Tim might explain simply, "They took my appendix out yesterday afternoon."
Talking about medical procedures in a straightforward way.
Yes. So these examples, the work problem, the late train, the expensive flat, the hospital visit, they show how English is used for all parts of life, not just the good bits. It's for dealing with delays, money worries, health problems, everything.
So it's really important to know some basic phrases for these kinds of situations too, so you can explain what's wrong or understand what's happening.
Definitely. Being able to communicate your needs clearly, especially in difficult situations, is crucial.
Okay, enough problems for Tim. Let's move beyond work and troubles. What about people's personal lives, social life, daily routines?
Yes, let's look at that. English is used constantly to talk about our everyday habits and free time.
We heard about Rebecca, Martha's personal assistant. She seems very organized. Let's hear about her morning routine.
Right. She might describe it very clearly, maybe saying something like, "Oh, I'm very regular. I always get up at 7 o'clock.
Using always to show it's a fixed habit.
Then I have a shower and wash my hair. I have breakfast at 7:30. 7:30 is a common way to say 7:40.
And she even lists exactly what she eats for breakfast.
Yes, in detail. I have orange juice, a grapefruit, 2 slices of toast, and 2 cups of coffee.
That's a great example of how people use simple present tense and time expressions to describe their daily habits. Very practical language.
It is. And notice the simple vocabulary: shower, wash hair, breakfast, toast, coffee, all very common words. And what's interesting too is how much detail people sometimes share about their habits and personal lives. Rebecca doesn't just stop at breakfast. She might also share her free time activities. Maybe she says, "I go to the gym 3 times a week. I have my dance class on Thursday evening. I like cooking. And I love parties."
Wow, she sounds busy and sociable. It gives you a really clear picture of her life outside work.
It does, and it brings up an interesting point. How much do we usually share about our personal lives when we speak English? It probably depends on the person and the situation, But often, sharing these small details about your routine or hobbies helps you connect with people.
It helps build friendships, find common interests.
Exactly. Small talk about daily life is very common.
And daily life also includes things like finding a place to live, right? We heard about Tim looking for a flat. Let's imagine Rebecca has a flatmate situation. Maybe her flatmate, Ellie, suddenly gets a job offer far away.
Right. Maybe Ellie announces, "Guess what? I got a job in San Francisco. I'm leaving next month."
Oh, so Rebecca suddenly needs a new flatmate to share the rent.
Yes. And who also needs a place to live? Julia.
Perfect timing. So maybe Julia hears about it and asks Rebecca, is the room still available?
And perhaps Rebecca describes the flat. "Yes, it's a nice flat. We have a living room, a kitchen, the bathroom is shared just down the hall."
Giving details about the accommodation.
And talking about the cost. Maybe Rebecca says, "And the rent is really cheap. It's only $65,000 a week."
So this gives you practical English for talking about finding a place to live, describing rooms, discussing rent. Very useful stuff.
And finally, sometimes English is used to talk about much bigger things. Life experiences, important lessons. Let's think about another character, maybe someone Tim interviews for a story. Richard Bennett. Imagine Richard left his high-paying job in a London bank to do something adventurous, like walk to the South Pole.
Wow, that's extreme. Did something happen?
Yes. Imagine he fell into a deep crack in the ice crevasse. He broke his arm and was trapped there alone for 5 whole days in the freezing cold.
That sounds terrifying. What did he do?
He survived, but while he was stuck there, he had a lot of time to think about his life. Maybe he tells Tim in the interview, lying there, I realized something. All my problems back home, the stress at work, they just weren't important anymore.
But big change in perspective.
I just wanted to be with my family and my friends again. That's all that mattered. And then maybe he shares the lesson he learned. Life's very short, You have to enjoy it while you can.
Wow, that's quite profound.
It is. And it shows how English is used not just for simple daily tasks, but also for expressing deep feelings, reflections on life, sharing important lessons learned from experiences.
So these real-life examples, they cover everything from saying good morning and giving your phone number to talking about your job, your hobbies, finding a flat, dealing with problems, and even sharing life-changing thoughts.
Exactly. They give you a taste of the practical English you need for all aspects of life.
Okay, so we've seen English used in lots of different situations. Now let's zoom in even closer on some specific, very common and useful English phrases that came up in those situations, or similar ones. Learning these can really help you sound more natural and handle everyday conversations more smoothly. Let's start with a situation we all dread.
You meet someone but... Oh no. You can't remember their name. It happens, right?
Oh, definitely. It's happened to me plenty of times. It can be so embarrassing.
We heard a conversation where Nick meets Anna, and he has this problem. What does he say? He says, I'm so sorry. Your name has just slipped my mind. Can you remind me? That's a really good, polite way to handle it. Slipped my mind.
And Anna is very understanding. She replies, oh, don't worry about it. It happens to me all the time. I'm terrible with names, too.
See? Using phrases like, don't worry about it, and I'm terrible with names, makes the situation less awkward for everyone. So let's break down some useful phrases from situations like this. First, in a bit of a hurry.
In a bit of a hurry. What does that mean exactly?
It simply means you don't have much time, or you are moving quickly because you need to be somewhere soon. It's a polite way to say you're rushed.
Can you give some examples?
Sure. You might say to a taxi driver, can you drive a little faster, please? I'm in a bit of a hurry to get to the airport. Or if a friend stops you on the street, you could say, hi. Sorry, I can't talk right now. I'm in a bit of a hurry.
Okay. Can you use it at work?
Yes, definitely. Maybe a colleague asks you to look at something. You could say, I'm in a bit of a hurry right now, but I'll check those files later this afternoon.
So it helps you explain politely why you can't stop or do something immediately.
Exactly. Clear and polite.
Okay, next phrase. Contact details. We mentioned this earlier.
Yes, contact details. This is simply the information people need to get in touch with you. Usually it means your name, your phone number, and your email address. Maybe your work address too.
Like the information on a business card.
Precisely. A business card contains your contact details.
How would you use it in a sentence?
Well, you might need to ask for someone else's details. Do you have the contact details for the IT department? Or you might offer yours. Here's my card with all my contact details.
Or maybe you realize you don't have someone's information. Oh, I don't think I have your contact details. Could you email them to me?
It's a very standard and useful phrase, especially in professional or official situations, but also just for keeping in touch with friends. And the third phrase, the one Nick used when he forgot Anna's name, slipped my mind.
It slipped my mind. That means you forgot something, right?
Yes, exactly. It means you accidentally forgot something. You didn't remember it when you should have. It sounds a little softer and more accidental than just saying, I forgot.
Can you give some examples?
Sure. I'm really sorry I forgot to call you back yesterday. It just slipped my mind. Or maybe you missed an appointment. Oh no, I had a dentist appointment this afternoon, didn't I? It must have completely slipped my mind.
Can you use it for important things too, like forgetting a birthday?
You can, although maybe with a bigger apology. I am so sorry I forgot your birthday. It completely slipped my mind with everything going on this week.
So it's a common and polite way to explain that you forgot something unintentionally.
Yes. It helps make conversations clearer and more polite when those little memory failures happen.
Okay, those phrases were about being busy and forgetting things. What about describing places or talking about skills?
Right. Let's look at phrases for location first. We often use phrases like around here, around the corner, or around there.
They all sound similar. What's the difference?
Around here means close by in this general area where we are right now. So you might ask someone on the street, "Excuse me, is there a post office around here?"
Or you could tell someone, there's a really good coffee shop right around here, meaning nearby.
Exactly. Now, around the corner is usually a bit more specific. It means very close, typically on the next street, just a short walk away.
So more precise than around here.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a cash machine, there's one right around the corner next to the bakery.
Okay. And around there.
Around there means near a place that you just mentioned or that you're both thinking about, but maybe not exactly in that place. For example, I went to university in Boston. Oh, really? My sister lives around there now, meaning near Boston in that general area.
Got it. So around here, nearby, around the corner, very close, next street, around there, near a mentioned place.
That's a good way to remember them. They're very useful for giving and asking for directions in a natural, slightly vague way sometimes.
Okay. And what about talking about skills, or rather, lack of skills? Anna said she was terrible with names.
Yes, the phrase terrible with is a very common and informal way to say you are not good at something. You lack skill or ability in that area.
So it doesn't mean you are a terrible person.
No, not at all. It just means you're bad at something.
Can you give some examples?
Sure. Someone might joke, "You're terrible with numbers. You always get the bill wrong." Or you could say about yourself, "Please don't ask me for directions. I'm terrible with directions. I always get lost."
Or like Anna, I'm terrible with names. What about faces?
Yes, I'm terrible with faces. I can meet someone and forget what they look like 5 minutes later.
So it's a simple, common way to admit you're not good at something, maybe in a lighthearted way.
Exactly. It's perfectly okay to say you're terrible with something. And just a quick bonus phrase for fluency. Instead of always saying, "How are you?" try mixing in, "How's it going?"
How's it going? Is it more informal?
Yes, it's a very natural and casual way to greet a friend or someone you know fairly well. It sounds relaxed and friendly.
So just another option for greetings.
Right. Using a variety of greetings makes your English sound more fluent and natural.
Going back to forgetting names, it really is common. I remember one time I was at a work event introducing two people I knew, and as I turned to introduce the second person, their name just vanished, completely gone from my head. It was so awkward.
Oh no, what did you do?
I think I just sort of mumbled something and hoped they would introduce themselves. Not my finest moment.
Haha, we've all been there. I once forgot my cousin's husband's name at their wedding. Talk about embarrassing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What's interesting, though, is how people find little tricks to manage it. Like, if you forget someone's name, you could politely ask for their business card later.
Because their name will be written on it.
Exactly. Or maybe ask for their email address, which often includes their full name. Little ways to find out without having to ask directly again.
Clever workarounds. So, using these everyday phrases we just talked about, like in a bit of a hurry, contact details, slip my mind, around here, terrible with, and trying how's it going can really help.
They absolutely can. They help you handle common situations smoothly, describe locations, talk about your abilities simply, and greet people naturally.
They're like small tools that make your everyday English conversations just work better.
And help you sound a bit more like a native speaker, too, using those natural expressions.
So after this whole deep dive, what does this all mean for you, our listeners? We've explored how you can really take control of your English learning journey, step by step. We've looked at using free tools, building good habits, things like knowing your level, working on pronunciation, building vocabulary with flashcards.
Understanding grammar, practicing listening with podcasts or movies, and importantly, finding ways to practice speaking, even if it's just with yourself or an AI, plus reading and writing too.
A complete plan, really.
And we've also seen English in action in real everyday situations. From that busy morning starting a new job, to dealing with unexpected problems like late trains or needing a doctor, to sharing personal routines, finding a flatmate, and even reflecting on big life lessons.
It shows how English is used for everything in life.
So this really raises an important question for you now. How will you use what you've learned today in your own life, in your own English learning? Will you maybe finally take that free English test online to find out your CEFR level? Or perhaps try one of those free online courses for beginners, or find a new podcast to listen to.
Maybe you'll download Anki and start making vocabulary flashcards.
Or maybe just try to use one of the new phrases we discussed, like saying, "It slipped my mind," the next time you forget something in an English conversation.
Remember, every little bit of practice helps. Every step you take moves you forward.
Exactly. The key is to start doing something and then keep doing it consistently. Every small effort adds up.
Keep exploring the language all around you. Notice English words on signs, listen to English songs you like, try reading simple news headlines in English. The more you connect with English in your daily life, the more natural it will become for you. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into English learning and real-life conversations. We really hope this deep dive was useful for you and gave you some practical ideas and motivation. Keep learning and keep practicing. Goodbye and good luck.